Smash Factor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. That is beyond long.
Look at this. He's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess. Hello world, huh?
Welcome, everybody, to the Smash Factor, Week 43 of the PGA 2022-2023 PGA Tour, the Tour Championship, the final event of this season. Not necessarily this year. We'll see what fall swing looks like. Obviously, they went back to a calendar year starting next year, 2024. So the first official event will be in January, but they are still doing fall swing events. We'll kind of see how that looks as far as coverage and what we'll do, what I'll put out. Probably a scaled back version of what we do now content wise. Don't know who all is going to play in them. I believe it's basically, I think the money's still similar. You just gain no FedEx points at all. So it's strictly, and there may be some, things that they can qualify for or whatnot, but I know the FedEx points will start in January with the new structure as of now. We got big things coming up with college football, NFL, all that kind of stuff after we get through this week. This probably won't be too long of a pod, being that there's only 30 guys. But I like this week. I like the anytime we, a little bit outside the box with the way the pricing is, the starting strokes. This is year 4, I believe, of this, maybe 5, that we've had this kind of format to think about how you want to go about building your teams. I would think we're sharper in general, and there's enough knowledge out there that people are aware of, not overreacting to where someone's starting, but there's some validity to some of the guys that have those starting strokes as far as finishing positions and how we think the course will play, tough, not tough, can people score, can they outscore, where they're starting, things like that. That'll be, I'll talk about it, and I put out a custom tool that I built 4 years ago, and I've kept it updated for the premium members this morning as well. This is morning. I will have this out around lunchtime. And if you have any questions, if you're a member and you're using that tool, you can always reach out to me as well. Last week, BMW Championship, 50 guys. Good week overall. DFS started okay, and then Matsu withdrew, and I only did 3 lineups last week. He was in 2 of the 3, so that killed those. Anytime you have a no-cut event, a guy withdraws, especially only 1 round in, if he withdraws at all, doesn't play all 4 rounds, it's really hard to make up ground. But fortunately, like, my bad kind of plays or the way that those paired were in those 2 lineups, even if he did play, neither one of them were great. Taylor Moore was in one of them, so I just kind of killed it. I think he shot, a million over. But my main lineup, my bullet that, I put in like the 2-2-2, they got that leaderboard deal going. It was around all weekend. I think it was Saturday afternoon. Brandon Aaron, I think I went to Lowe's to get some, more dirt and stuff from, working on the backyard. And I left and I was in like 9th place in the 2-2-2. And I'm listening kind of on the radio, got it streaming, driving, all that kind of stuff, listening. I come back and I just kind of finally check up again, and I was in like 100th place. And I was like, what happened? And Kirk goes, I think 6 or 7 over in about a 4-hole stretch. So that kind of hurt. Rose had a bad Sunday, but I had Cantley, I had Hovland, Hatton and Cole. Hatton just kind of coasted. He had a bunch of birdies. He just kept giving them back, all week. Cole kind of similar, stayed right around even, -1, -2, things like that. When I was really up there, I had, Hovland, Cantley, Rose, and Kirk were all flirting with the top 10. Kirk was leading it for a while. But it was good. Still, I think, tripled up on the week. Then we hit Hovland. I bet him. I put the post out Thursday night. So after round 1, he was 35-1. And I believe Sungjae was the other one. He was 40 or 50-1. Those are the 2 guys that I picked. I don't do the mid-tournament ads all the time, but there are certain tournaments that I will, especially no cut, things like that. You can see where a guy can catch fire. And it was playing somewhat difficult. So, there was room for people to make a run. So I like both those. Hovland pulls it out with an amazing round Sunday, so that helps, especially going into football season. We had a lot of guys in Slack, hit some big money. Not only with the Hovland, but with some DraftKings. And round 4, a lot of people did really, really well. I think I had Fitz, I think, was the core or play of the day, which he did okay, did good enough. Hovland, Scheffler, and I can't remember the other, but they all did well. So any combinations of those would get you up there with a chance on Sunday. So momentum going into this week. Let's see if we can finish off well. We get college football back Saturday. Bobby's already been in there working on that, putting out some preseason stuff. I still put our college football coverage up against anybody's. Looking forward to that. It's always fun. The best Slack community when we're looking for stuff, especially these kind of one-off games or not the main media games where you have all the information on the players. When we got to go dig and find the sideline reporters and stuff like that to try to get as much information as possible, especially early in the year. So big advantage on college football for us. If you guys want to come join. And I said this a few weeks ago, but NFL 30 gets 30% off for life, any package. This will be the last kind of discount we do until probably the Masters. I may do something again at the beginning of the year or Black Friday, something like that. But for sure for a while. So if you want to hop in, it's a week free trial, 7-day free trial. You can come join this week. Good week to test out. You can try that tool that I built. It's really handy. It's super easy to. Basically, you can just mock, simulations of where you think guys could end up, and okay, what if Scheffler drops to 4th, Hovland wins? And all you have to do is update one column, and the whole tool updates for you. And it kind of shows you based on salary and expected points, and the bonus points for finishing positions, where you could see some value if guys do what you think they're going to do. That's still hard to predict, but at least gives you a visual instead of trying to outthink yourself on the whole deal. Preseason's been fire. Ryan and Bobby kind of tag teaming that. Last night we did well. I was up there, had a good chance for a while, fell back late, but even the second half preseason stuff, which I'd never done, because of some of the info we have in there, guys are really making some good money on that because you kind of know who's going to tee up for the second half that other people aren't really paying attention to. So that's been great. College football will be awesome. Starts Saturday. NFL got that fully covered just like usual. All the tools back. Green Machine, all the ownership, projections, NFL projections, all that stuff will be back this year. Looking forward to the football season for sure. This week they're at East Lake. Again, NFL 30% off on that. Par 70, 7,400. 4 par 3s, 2 par 5s, so a ton of par 4s around here. Bermuda greens. Par 3s are tough, in general. Some of the tougher holes on the course. Par 5s are reachable in 2 for the most part. Maybe some winds can get in their face, but I don't see a lot of wind this week. So I think guys are going to be able to score on the par 5s, and they're going to need to take advantage of them. It's a total game, tough test. It can be scored on. I think Rory shot 17 under naturally last year here and started 4 under, so he was one of the few. Actually, he's the only person that's done it to come back not from starting first to actually win the tournament. He was 5 under in 2019, 4 under last year to start, and won both those. DJ and Cantley were both first in 2020 and 2021, and they wind up winning. Kenny Kim, you can go check his spot out with Tambo. He's got full description there or on the site, on the course, the history, all that kind of stuff. You want to go look at all that. Weather, it looks hot, just like it is here. I think we're on it seems like day 100 of 100-degree temperatures. On pace, potentially, to kind of be 2011 was one of the worst on record summers here, North Dallas, all that kind of stuff. Not quite that bad, but it's been pretty hot around here for quite a while now. And Atlanta's just east of here, not just east, but same kind of southern. They're hot. It's going to be hot there, high 90s, mid 90s, not a lot of wind. The only rain in the pitch right now is late Sunday, so I don't think that's a factor at all. No could have been, of course. Winner's been with the starting strokes around 21 under. Actually, 3 straight years it's been minus 21. DJ shot 11 under plus a starting. Cantley 11 under last year. Rory 17 under. 2019 Rory shot 13 under to win it at 18 under. So, similar to what we've seen the last few weeks. Guys are going to can shoot that 12 to 15 under type score. So birdies can be out there, but it can be tough as well. And I think the heat will wear on him to an extent. Not really an advantage for anybody because there's only 30 guys. They're all going to be going out, virtually at the same time. Some runner-ups here: Sungjae, Scheffler, Rahm, Xander, JT, Xander. The lowest gross score these 4 years they've been doing it: Rory, Xander, Rahm, and Na tied. That was 2021, and then Rory. Probably an uptick a little bit to course history this week. It does seem some of the guys that have done well continuously do well. Xander, Rory are two of them. Cantley a little bit. He's gotten better the more he's played it. But you can't really rule anybody out. Surprisingly, there's 10, so a third of the field has never played this. So that's a little bit unusual to see that many guys making it to their first Tour Championship. So that's kind of awesome, but there's a lot of unknown there. So I'm not fully going all in on course history, but I think it does matter to an extent. Salary ranges, we know they're different this week because DraftKings factors in the starting strokes. There's 8 in the 10K range, 4 in the 9K, 4 in the 8K, 6 in the 7K, and 4 in the 6K. Actually 6 and 5K. I think that would be, oh, you know what? I may need to fix that. So there's 4 in the 6K. Let me uncheck that. And 4 in the 5K. So that's how they got it spread out this week. We've seen it a little bit for the first time this year. A couple times they've tried, dip down into the 5s a little bit. This is the most, extravagant they do it just because of the starting strokes and all of that. That's why I built a tool to kind of help you visually look at some of the situations of what you may think can happen. If you're doing a whole bunch of lineups, I mean, you could go in that tool and build 3 or 4 different projections of where you think guys could move or go and kind of see where that points in the value is at and run 20, 30 lineups with that deal and do it, 3 or 4 different ways if you want. I don't know if I'll MME this week. I'm going to look back. Tonight I'll look back on kind of what I've done here in the past and how I've done. Definitely will do, the single entry stuff. That single entry leaderboard is the final week for that. And maybe some 3-max stuff. And I may look at some, I think the $5 is pretty big this week and good structure. So maybe throw 150 in that or something. But I think you can do it many different ways. You don't have to. A lot of people just build their one lineup, move on, have a little bit of action on it, and that's perfectly fine. You can use that tool whether you're doing MME or single entry. It doesn't matter. Obviously, normally give you the Sweet 16. I normally give you 4 guys, 3 and a bubble boy, and then, fade, sleeper, all that stuff. A little bit condensed this week because there's only 30 guys. I'll just hit on some of the ones that stick out to me. Definitely more about strategy and how to use the salaries and how you want to build and not get too caught up on them where they're starting at all the way around. Meaning, Scheffler, because of his price, if he starts out first and and he winds up winning it, but only shoots 9 or 10 under gross, can someone else still come back and make more than him if they move up enough at a cheaper price and bring that value in? Those are some of the things the tool will help you with, or you can just kind of mess around with it and see what you like. 9K and above, I like Scheffler. I do think, he's playing well in the putter, even, when the putter's not working, which last week was frustrating watching him several times, but he's still right there. So he finishes second with quote unquote, a bad putting week, which it wasn't great, but he's trying things. He's working on it. He's got a 5th, a 2nd, and a 22nd here. So good results. Now those are going to be including the starting strokes and all that, but I'm not going to try to differentiate that at this point, but I do think he, probably safe to finish top 3. And then you just kind of go, what, if you like him, what can I build around him? And does that make sense in general? I haven't dug into all that yet. I'll be doing that tonight. I was busy with other stuff yesterday. So I'll model out that kind of stuff and do the deep dive and put that in the, for our premium members, I'll have all that strategy out later tonight and then into tomorrow with final thoughts and everything. I also like Cantley, 10-8. So pretty good discount off of some of the, Rory, Rahm, those price guys. Like I said, he's gotten better the more he's played it. First 3 years, which I guess 17 and 18 was a little bit different structure, but, he was 21st in 2019, didn't play in 2020, and then first in 2021, obviously, and then 7th last year. So coming in good form, had a chance to, he did okay last week, 15th, nothing great, but second at St. Jude. I just think he's close to putting it all together and having a really good week. He's probably the lowest I would go. I'll get to that a little bit later on a guy I think that could make a run and potentially win with the starting strokes. If you're looking at that betting market at -4, that's what Rory was in 2019 when he did it. So I could see he's probably the lowest I would go on that kind of route that I like to have a chance this week. Xander, probably popular, but I may fade some of the other chalk elsewhere to just play him. I mean, first, seventh, second, fifth, fourth. So the history here is phenomenal. He is starting, so he's -3, only one back at Cantley. I don't hate that. Only $300 cheaper, but that's easy to make up. Even some of those other guys he's around. I still think he gets owned. I would just try to get, where do I want to be different outside of that? One rule of thumb easily is just have your pool. You can build, leave 200 or 300 on every lineup, and you're naturally going to build differently than most people. You can leave more money this week, than you normally would look at leaving. I like him. He plays well here. Showed some life last week. Got an 8. Didn't do much on Sunday, but he was there for a while. I do think Rahm will probably be lower owned than maybe quote unquote. I don't know if we say should, but he always got potential, and so at 11.6, I kind of think most people will drop down to one of these two that I just mentioned or pay up for Hovland. I think Hovland will be popular. He's done okay here, 20th, a 5th, and a 15th. So one really good, the other's just average. Remember, there's only 30 guys. Last year was only 29, so he's about half. Homa, I think, could get some love. He's $700 cheaper. He's a guy I may look to kind of be light on, but man, Rahm just hadn't looked good, right? And we didn't even really get like that really good round last week. I think he did okay Sunday. He came back, finished 31st, but he also plays well here though. 7th, 11th, 12th, 4th, 2nd, 15th last year, so not too great. That's one thing I'll look at. As I mentioned, I'll go, well, when he finished second, what was his starting strokes versus when he finished 15th, things like that. What were the gross scores, which I have all that data on the side, just kind of see how they played naturally. Now their stroke gain data is true, so I also look at that. And he's 5th in course fit history for me. Stats, he's just okay right now. He's just middle of the pack, and so for the price, the reason to play Rahm for me would be I think you get leverage up top. So he's potentially in that. If I'm MME, and he's definitely in that board, that pool, that next to last pool for me to make a decision on. Kind of the middle range. Obviously, I'm not doing just all the ranges because they're a little bit wonky this week, but I like Sungjae. 8,500, 19th, 11th, 20th, and 2nd here. Last 3 weeks, a 14th, a 6th, and a 7th. So stats are just okay. He's just mid-pack average, but I like this course for him. I think his game suits it well. He's coming in with really good form with 3 straight top 14s or better. 8,500, I like some Sungjae this week. Finau, 7,500, really feels cheap. I just don't know if people go there. He hadn't showed much life. But, 7th at 3M Open, then a 64th at St. Jude, which what was that, 70-man field, so not much there. 37th last week at a 50th. Again, not much there. But you're going to need some guys, in these cheaper ranges to make it work. Where is he starting? Can't be too high up there. Finau. I thought he'd be down there. Okay, there. -2. So... he's got life. Yeah, there he is, -2 to make a little run. Maybe he backdoors, a top 8, something like that. But he's done well here. 7th, 15th, 7th, 17th, 11th, 9th. Nothing like tremendous, but at that price, if he makes a good move this weekend and naturally shoots, like a 10 under to get him to 12 under, maybe finishes, 6th, 7th, 8th, somewhere in that range, I think the 7,500 pays off. Has he shown it? No, but there's only 30 guys. So there's going to be guys that you're going to have to, kind of hold your nose and jump in on and hope they show up this week because you want leverage. And it's really hard to get it when you're such a small field and only so many different ways to go. There's a lot of combinations, but, legitimately where you want to go in the middle range and lower range can make a big difference. Siwoo, same reason. Never played here, so that's a little worrisome, but I don't mind that. I think the course does lay out good for him. He's okay coming in here, a 33rd, a 16th, and a 31st the last 3 weeks. Last week, so mid-pack at a 50, but 16th at St. Jude at a 70. Not horrible. Stat-wise, he looks good. 2nd in good drives, 7th in irons, 7th in good approach. He's not doing well putting. That's kind of the big deal. He actually ranks 30th, so he's worse than Scheffler, if you can think of that. But at the price, again, 7,200, probably just that mid-range owned that a guy I don't mind, getting some pieces of. I do think like that next level down, this kind of area, I think Glover will be low owned, kind of like Rahm. I don't know how many pay up for the 9,700. He still rates out well for me. He's only played there once and he did not do well. But I think this is a totally different Glover. He is a guy that I'll kind of like Rahm. I like him, shown enough, kind of got nothing to lose. Is he still fighting for maybe that last Ryder Cup spot? Is he in? None of that we know, but he's right there. He's at least in the conversation. A really good showing here can go a long way. And I don't think many people click his name at the 9,700. I think they go elsewhere or pay up a little bit above with that, Fitz maybe. But I think Xander, Cantley get a lot of that, or they drop down. So he's a guy keep your eye on in that range as well. 7K range. I like Spieth. I think he may get owned. We'll see between kind of him and Hatton. Cheap, name recognition. I think Hatton will be way more personally. He got a 7th here. That was back in 2020. That's the only time he's made it. Spieth's been okay. He got a 7th back in 2017, then a 20th and a 13th. I kind of think between those two, I may only want one. I mean, if you're doing 150 lineups, you can kind of cut and you may be able to play all 30 really and just try to get really different in your builds. But with some rules and stuff, use a green machine, like at most this many guys of this, group, 2 of these 6 type of deal so that your builds are different. But ranking wise, rated out wise, Hatton's better for me. But I do think he probably garnishes a little more ownership. I'll wait on that till Wednesday to kind of see who I'm heavier on. I like both. But I think Spieth may be a little less owned than Hatton by the time we get there. We'll see. Straka, boom bust type guy. We've seen it before. He got a 7th here last year. He was riding the high off of, and not many people played him if I remember right. So this was the week after, or 2 weeks after he went in the playoff with Willie Z when we were at the St. Jude's. Rode it coming here and finished 7th. So boom bust type capable, $5,400. Some risk, but I don't mind it. And probably a pretty decent 1 to 3 max type play too. He can finish dead last. We know that, but he can get hot as anybody. Make a run, get up in that top 10. 5,400 would be huge. Shank is another guy, 5,200 that I kind of like some. Pretty average across the board, or better than average in most of the stats. Right there in the middle. Just a couple of them he's a little better than. 11th in putting, so on the positive side there. 64th, a 6th, and a 34th, so just okay coming in. But $5,200, we know he can score. He's one of the guys that I do like the potential of outscoring position points, stuff like that. And again, there's all kinds of guys around here that I like, but I'm trying to point out some that maybe we're taking a chance on. As opposed to what's going to be some of the chalkier plays, the Bradleys, the Morikawa. I think Hatton and Spieth, they probably both get pretty decent ownership, but who gets more? Griot may get some. Burns, I think, will be probably, especially after last week, pretty popular, 6,100. So those kind of guys, where can I get different if I move off of them? And then I think Taylor Moore may be super low owned after that, whatever he shot. I think it was 18, 19 over for the tournament. Again, $6,500, great bounce back spot here. Flop lag if you want to go that route. I don't think hardly many people go to him just off of the performance last week. I played him last week. I probably play him this week. Just especially if I do MME, 20 lineups or more. He's probably in that pool for me. Favorite of the week right now, I'm leaning Homa. I do like where his game is. He finished 5th here last year. A little bit more expensive than Xander. I'm interested to see his, because I'd like him to be popular, because if I go Xander, I'd like to cut out 1 or 2 of the popular pieces, at least one up here, which I'm still flirting with Hovland. I'm trying to decide what I want to do there versus like Rory, because I like Cantley, Xander, and Scheffler, like I already said. But does Connors get popular? On paper, you would think he would, but he hasn't really done well here. So if he kind of gets some steam up and takes some ownership, him and Morikawa, those kind of guys, I don't mind being light or fading to allow me to get some of the other chalk. You're gonna have to eat some chalk somewhere. You just can't be unique in all 6 spots, and you don't need to be. And Homa's just a guy that I'd never play a whole ton of. And at 10-9, I'd rather drop down to Cantley Xander personally or move up, to Rahm, which I think would be less owned just because of the way he's coming in here. Maybe even Fitz. He showed some life last week, said he's found something. 10,000, maybe he's a little low and we can pivot there. But Homa's a guy right now, and probably Morikawa. I don't really have much love there at 7,700 if he's going to be high owned at that price, which I think he would. And I don't know if I get much burn. So those are probably the three when looking at pricing levels that I may cut out, especially if like 20 max. I want to get that pool a little tighter. Again, if you're doing 50, 75, 100, you can make arguments on playing everybody. I tend to still try to cut out some and just get overweight on others. Worst case, be light on them. Sleeper of the week, I mean, there's really not one, but I think Taylor Moore, like I just said, could be a great bounce back. No one hardly goes there. No one plays him, type of deal. Or Nick Taylor, min 5. I think more people would play him at 5,000 than Taylor Moore. So you could get a super low on Moore there, which we know, he's boom bust at times, heavy on, off the tee and putting. But I don't mind that in this type of field. He gets 4 days of it. If he does get hot and gets hot on the greens, then we're good to go. I do want to kind of see what I can find or research on what would have caused like that dramatic, horrible tournament. It wasn't just like, he shot like 3 or 4 under. I mean, he was last by far. Is there an injury concern there, stuff like that? As long as there's none of that, then, I don't mind taking a chance there. Betting, top 5 of the pop and 2 long shots provided by Underdog and Price Picks. Hopefully you're getting all your, best ball drafting in, whether it be through DraftKings. Underdog, has a $15 million pot. You want to go check them out. $1 for dollar match up to $100 with GUP on either site. I'll have my Price Picks out nightly when they have them. I think they'll have them for this week. Maybe not with only 30 guys, but they should. And then I'll fire them out for college football and NFL, stuff like that throughout the year. Underdog, love them for their best ball right now. A lot of guys in there drafting on both. So if you have questions in our Slack, you can go check it out. And you can get your free $100 when you deposit 100, up to 100. You can do 20, you can do whatever you want. It's $1 for dollar match. That link is in the description. So with strokes, the only one I may take a chance on is Cantley 20-1. I see, he may be a little, you can shop around. I hadn't done all that yet, but all the other guys are super low, right? Obviously, Scheffler, Hovland, they're all under 10-1. So I can see, but I can see them being there. He's kind of the only one that's got a little bit of juice in it that I could maybe make a run. I don't know that I bet any with strokes. I may just pass on that and wait for, some updated round 1 numbers and kind of see how things look. If there's an overreaction, kind of trying like we did, like hit Hovland last week without strokes. So basically just lowest gross of the week. I like Cantley still 10-1, Fitz 25-1, Glover 40-1. You can maybe each way that. Straka 80-1, each way that. Then super long shot again, probably maybe Taylor Moore 150-1 again, each way that for sure. If I did it, I may just do a top 10 on that. If they have that market this week, there's only 30, so don't know what that would look like, but those are guys I'm looking at. I'll have final card out tomorrow per usual. One and done. Congrats to all the winners out there. I bubbled. I do my 3 and I bubbled on that last one. My other one, I had picked Holland just because, but I was too far back to make a run at it. Enjoy all those. Again, we'll join all of them again next year in the fall or in January. I don't do the Fall League one or anything like that. But if you do have one that goes this week, I actually have another league that does include this week with some different stuff. You can shoot me a DM on Twitter, or if you're in Slack, if you're a member, and I'll answer any potential one and done questions for this week if they're still live on those kind of things. Don't forget, NFL 30% off for life off any package, 7-day risk-free trial, so you never get charged until that the week's over. If you don't like it in the first 7 days, you can bounce out and you never see a charge. So it's free to check it out. Good week to do it with unusual golf stuff, the tools. Then we kick it off college football. Preseason, we're doing great on right now. So all those things for free for a week, worth a try, and 30% off for life. Any package you want to check out there. I hope you guys have a good Tuesday. I'll get this out by lunch. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.